Panthers are north of the border, embarking on an Eastern Canadian swing. Toronto is stop number one. The Cats put up a half dozen against the Leafs in the first meeting, and they'd welcome an offensive revival tonight. Nick Bjugstad leads the charge as the Panthers drop the puck on a 5-game roadie next. Toronto, Panthers hockey is on the air tonight. A week-long road trip begins for the Cats, who roll in goal with Roberto Luongo. His last dozen games against the Leafs, how about an 11-1 record? And the Panthers tonight with a chance to gain ground in a tight playoff race. Florida can pull within 2 points of the idle Boston Bruins for that final spot in this matchup tonight. Welcome, everybody, to the Air Canada Center in Toronto, along with Hall of Famer Denny Potvin. I'm Steve Goldstein, the home of the Hall of Fame. It's appropriate. And for the Panthers, Denny, looking for some offense here. How can your mentality affect your offensive game?
You know, I think the idea is that you've got to be thinking like a shooter. You know, stop thinking like, well, I want to be humble and move the puck around. You've got to think like shooting a puck. Here's an opportunity to shoot. Yet Ekblad walks in an extra 10 feet and the play is gone. Another opportunity for McKenzie to shoot. He doesn't take it. Ekblad, another opportunity, goes to the backhand. There's just not enough. And here you've got Huberdeau, again, an opportunity. Rather than mark off a target as a pass, he would have been right on top of the doorstep for a rebound. The Florida Panthers are getting the goaltending. Last 5 games, Roberto Luongo has allowed more than 2 goals. Last 2 games, Montoya has not allowed more than 2 goals. Florida Panthers need to think like shooters.
Defensively, they've done the job. They'll roll with the same lineup tonight against a struggling Toronto Maple Leafs team. Denny, what's going on here?
Well, I think in Toronto, you know, it's been a frustration all season long, and you can blame the players for a lot of what you've got. You can blame management, but you know what? Let's take a look at what it ends up being. You start at the very bottom with the 4 shutouts. You know, most in the National Hockey League in the period of time we're talking about, last 19 games, the goal differential is just incredible. It just gets worse. And when you think that you got a team that is high-powered, if you remember back in Florida, we talked about how high-powered this team is in terms of offense. They've been scoring at a clip of 1.5 goals a game. There's a lot going wrong here in Toronto.
Gerard Gallant's looking for a key 2 points on the table tonight. Or Alexis, keys to the game.
Still in the hunt there. We're 3 or 4 points behind Boston, and you know, we've got a chance there, so we got to keep winning and working hard. And like I said, it's nice to be in the position we're in. I'd like to be in 7th or 8th spot, but being in 9th spot and chasing and working hard, and every game's important for your club.
From the coach to this guy, Billy Lindsay is road trip ready. And tonight a former Leaf returns to Toronto. Billy next as Dave Bolland matches up with his former teammates, including Phil Kessel. The Panthers about to play their 56th game of the season, and they're taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. BB&T has our goaltending matchup tonight.
Well, you know what? You can call him Steady Eddie or whatever you want, but Roberto Luongo has been outstanding, and both goaltenders, he and Montoya, have certainly done their job. Luongo has allowed 3 or fewer goals in the 40 out of 45 games he's played in. Bernier, on the other hand, is trying to get out of a funk. He has 1 win in his last 10 starts, and it's not all goaltending either in Toronto. They've had a much maligned hockey team of late, and of course they are the buzzword around the NHL when it comes to trade talk.
All right, here we go. Olli Jokinen make his Leafs debut at center against Dave Bolland, the former Maple Leaf. Olli traded from Nashville here to Toronto. Former Panther Mike Santorelli, along with Cody Franson, went the other way. Ekblad has a step on Komarov, and right off the get-go, it's icing on Toronto. We look at tonight's officials.
All right, well, the theme here is think like a shooter. So for the Florida Panthers, look what's happened. Bjugstad, 29 shots on goal in the last 7 games. The next closest guy has been Fleischmann with 19. Where are the shooters? And who's been scoring? The only guy has been Bjugstad. There's the answer. 29 shots on goal in the last 7 games. So the Panthers have got to be looking at getting the puck to the net much more.
Baptist Health has our scratches for Gerard Gallant. Same lineup. Dmitry Kulikov, the second of his 4-game suspension. Willie Mitchell skating again, still day-to-day. Brandon Peary, hopefully he gets better with the upper body injury as well. Sean Bergenheim, the healthy scratch. And interesting, Denny, you talk about Bukestad shooting. Look where those 2 goals were scored from.
My point exactly.
It
doesn't matter. You get in that offensive zone, anything could work. I mean, I talked to goaltending coach Rob Tallis about it, and he said, when I played, you never worried about those shots in the corner. Now we devise strategies as to how to handle them. So obviously they're effective, even from the corner.
Bukestad's goal with 1:13 to go Sunday in Sunrise got the game tied against St. Louis, helped earn the Panthers a point. So they begin the night 4 behind Boston for 8th in the East. At the blue line, Shane O'Brien checks his man, and the puck comes out of the zone. O'Brien paired up with Petrovic on D. Morgan Riley puts it out in front of the shot. Luongo got a piece of it. Winnick took the shot. Berto with a stop there. And the Panthers get it to the blue line. Bouncing around, it came back over the line, so offside on Toronto. The Leafs get the first scoring chance of the night.
You know, Toronto is still a threat to score a lot. We showed you all of his stats, 1.67 goals per game the last 19 games. But Peter Horacek is a believer in this team. He's in the interim position as coach right now. I don't know if it bodes well for him. I certainly hope so. He's a good guy. Was in the same position with the Florida Panthers last year, you remember, was not able to be retained as coach. And now he is getting another opportunity. I don't know if he's going to be able to help turn this around or whether it's already been decided they'll be shopping for a coach come the offseason as well.
Denny, you mentioned the fire sale on here in Toronto. 15 scouts in the building tonight. 5 from the Montreal Canadiens alone. This Toronto team heavily scouted. Everyone's available, they say. Morgan Riley is the defenseman, number 44, maybe one of the untouchables. Everyone else is for sale.
You know, I listened to Nonis, the general manager, and he sort of stumbled over Morgan Riley, saying, you know, he's one of the most likely not to be untouchable. But, boy, it sure sounded, as you're saying, Billy, everybody is available. I mean, what kind of planning is that? Everybody is available.
Here's Camper with a chance, and Bernier makes his first stop of the night.
You got to be able to replace the bodies that leave, and they lost a couple of good guys already in Franzen and Santorelli. To me, Riley is a great cornerstone-type defenseman down the road. He needs to play with a real solid defenseman. That guy may have been Franzen. A lot of arguments about it, but this kid can play, and he can carry the puck and skate. He is everything you want in one of your 6 defensemen.
We'll hear from Dale Talon at the first intermission. Met with the media before the game about possible trades. Brian Campbell on the line, holds it in. Ekblad with a shot deflected in front, but never got to the net. Kopetsky was in position.
There were 2 guys in front of the net. The MO is to shoot. Ekblad did not hesitate. Good sign.
That he does not. David Booth behind the Panther net. Stolen away by McKenzie. Ekblad funnels it out to center. Took the hit. Robidot his own line right up the middle. And Booth goes down. Campbell pops it ahead. Here comes Sean Thornton down the wing. Jokinen goes to the net. Thornton puts it in front. Jokinen deflected and it goes wide. You see Jokinen on it again. Left it to the wall. Bukestad now protects the puck with the long reach. Gives to Hayes. Walking in and shooting, and a save by Bernier. Point blank for Jimmy Hayes, a one-time Maple Leaf draft pick.
Jumped right off the bench for the scoring chance. Came right down the middle against Bernier. Those are the shots you want.
You know, Billy, you mentioned the fact that he comes off the bench right down the middle. That is something that a defensive team or a good defensive team doesn't allow. But we're going to show you. The fact is you got the play by Thornton right there. Nice deflection by Jokinen, just wide. Again, well-executed 3-on-2. Doesn't get better than that. Bernier got a piece of that. So the big guy, 132 NHL fights. That's only during the regular season. Sean Thornton delivered a pretty good pass there where Jokinen redirection.
Winnick after it with Shane O'Brien. Winnick much the subject of trade rumors. A good, hard-nosed winger. Unrestricted at the end of the year. Another one of those players that's being chatted about. The trading deadline, by the way, is March 2nd. Turnover at the line and then a trip. Bukestad's going to go. And the Leafs will get a power play.
Now Bjugstad in the penalty box. It doesn't. You'll see it right here. And that was a little bit of a right leg. I thought for a second it may have been the stick. Bjugstad trying to fight for the puck, but that's a little obvious. So the Florida Panthers will put their PK to work. 79.7% efficiency. That's good for 21st.
They're big in the circle. The Leafs very early on, 3 minutes in, have dominated in the circle, and Joel Jokinen. And the Leafs a big part of that. That time, Bozak on the draw. Bill Kessel puts it in front. Bozak with a backhander, chops up in the air. Luongo trying to find it, and he has it in the glove. You talk about crashing the net. Toronto did it there.
You know, that's the coach's basic, message when things are not going well. You do say crash the net, particularly on a power play. But there you see, you've got plenty of people ready to get on the rebounds, and the puck is directed at the net. And Kessel did not have a great shot, or not even a great opportunity, but he did get the puck to the net.
Toronto without Dion Phaneuf and Joffrey Lupul, two of their veteran players out with injury. Kadri up high, flips it over to Riley. And now it's Kessel with 21 goals on the year. Dave Bolland stole it away, his former teammate.
This Leafs power play very good on home ice. They are 5th in the NHL. They've scored 36 power play goals. 24 of them have been here at home. That is something you have to watch out for. You want to stay out of the penalty box.
Sent all the way down and an icing call.
Now there you see the guys who lead in that parade in terms of points. Phil Kessel, he's got 7 power play goals, and he doesn't lead the team. Bozak and Van Riemsdyk both have 8. So there you see the total points while on power play for those guys with the Leafs.
Phil Kessel, as I mentioned, the 21 goals, but only 2 in his last 15 games. And here he comes through center. The feed for Kadri. Van Riemsdyk moving down the wall. Circles back and gives to Kessel. Riley on the line. Kadri out in front, and they score. Bozak.
Now Bozak is now leading the Toronto Maple Leafs with his 9th power play goal of the season. That was pretty good execution. But the Panthers never really had control of the puck at any time during this power play. And Goldie mentioned the fact they never had the face-off, so they never had the puck. This is just great execution. And Bozak is in position to get the puck into the net. You've seen the Florida Panthers do this with Huberdeau and Boys. It's not a new play where there's just too much room between the 4 pillars that are actually trying to defend.
I mean, too much room all around on that, Benny, from the entry to the move to the puck down low and then to the pass in the slot. And Bozak able to bury it, his 16th of the year, and the Panthers find themselves behind a goal early on.
That's the responsibility of the far winger, Thomas Kubecki. Thomas Kubecki did not get down, and when he did, he was just checking air. Didn't come back hard enough.
Komarov flips it out. The Barkov line is on the ice. I talked to Alexander Barkov for a while this morning about shooting. He said, yeah, I'm looking to shoot more. And boy, he loves playing with Jonathan Huberdeau. Says they're really getting some good chemistry together. Those give and goes they run. David Clarkson moves in now. The drop pass, and the shot goes wide from Holzer. Carries to Boys. The Mississauga, Ontario native, nearby. Brad Boys was drafted by the Maple Leafs.
Hey, Goldie. Is the ice a lot bigger here? It seems like the Florida Panthers are occupying very little of it. Right now, you got to tighten up.
And this is a must-win for the Panthers on this road trip. You got some tough games. You got Montreal, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Ottawa, maybe another must-win, but this is a game you want to put in the bank.
Bjugstad picks up the puck, then lost it. Hayes lost his stick. And Kadri will flip it to the Panther line. Ekblad gloves it down and controls. Gives to Jokinen on the blue line. Back for Bjugstad, broken up. Jokinen again. Threw it cross ice, deflects down low. Brian Campbell pops it out towards the front of the net, blocked away. Bjugstad now to the corner. Randberg there with him, and the Leafs able to work it free. Kadri under big pressure, but Upshaw lost an edge. Toronto able to get it to center. Campbell back for the Panthers. 6 minutes gone by here in the opening period, the first of a 5-game road trip for Florida. Leafs have the early goal. Boland after it. Booth. Boland went down. And David Booth's able to clear. Thomas Fleischmann. And Ekblad shoots in. Riley up the wall. And Booth gets it out again. Fleischmann under pressure from Riley and Booth. And Fleischmann able to play it off the wall. And thrown all the way down by Kozin. Steven Kampfer still in that Panther lineup. Billy?
Panther penalty killer struggled since Willie Mitchell has been out. Willie's on the trip. They need him back in the lineup.
Kopetsky thwarted that shot attempt. And now Kopetsky gets to center. McKenzie joins him up on the wing. McKenzie speeding after it. Cuts in front of Polak. Sean Thornton behind the net. Takes a look. Try to get it in front. And a deflected side of the net, and Bernier will cover. Toronto Maple Leafs have broken out on top on a power play goal.
Welcome back. The Maple Leafs lead on a power play goal by Tyler Bozak, his 16th of the year. And the Panthers looking to shut down Phil Kessel. I talked to Dave Boland. He played 23 games for the Leafs last year. He knows this team well, and I talked to him about shutting down the superstar Phil Kessel.
Phil's a great player. He's got skills and he's got a shot, and he sees the ice well. I think for us, it's containing his ice and make sure he doesn't get that puck. When you know the guy, it's pretty fun too. When you go against him, you have a few laughs out there and you try to get at him. But it's always fun playing against him, and playing against a guy like Phil. That's one of the best players in the league. It's always great.
And there is a look at Dave Boland, signed the 5-year contract with the Panthers after spending last season here. There's Olli Jokinen on the ice against McKenzie in the face-off circle. And McKenzie wins one here for the Panthers. But turned over at the line, and Komarov able to shoot in. Panthers beat Toronto back in December, 6-4. Still a couple more games left between these two teams. One here and one back at the BB&T Center. Panthers aren't home again until next Thursday when Kane, Taves, and the Blackhawks are in. Komarov is in the zone, puts it out in front, and deflected wide by Olli Jokinen. Opportunity developed there for Toronto. Clarkson down low. Ekblad works on him. In come McKenzie and Komarov. Clarkson's got it in the skates there. See Campbell trying to fish it out as well. McKenzie working on Komarov. Comes to Jokinen. And Olli Jokinen shoots. And his former teammate Roberto Luongo makes the save. They were once traded in the same deal way back when from the Islanders to the Panthers.
Well, Mike Milbury never forgot that. Nobody let him forget about that trade, as Olli Jokinen has been a solid veteran for a long time. They're near the end of his career, and I had a chance to talk to him today, and he says, Denny, I've got 5 games to prove myself. He fully expects to be very much part of a future deal. Of course, General Manager Dave Nonis had made that very clear, as we have. Nobody is really safe in a uniform, and Olli Jokinen figures that he's got 5 games to prove that he can say.
Here's Barkov with a chance. This is the net wide.
That puck rolled on Barkov, unfortunate. Flipped up on end right before he shot it.
Loose at the blue line now, and Huberdeau able to clear to center for Brad Boyes. Olli Jokinen had a couple of big years for the Panthers. 39 goals one year, 34 as well.
Well, he had 4 30-goal seasons for the Florida Panthers. Olli Jokinen. By the way, he's been on 10 different teams. I think he calls home Parkland. Parkland, Florida. Still lives there. 10 teams. Of course, that includes twice in Calgary.
Branson works it free, plays it around, but past Kampfer. Morgan Riley on the pinch, takes the shoulder from Kampfer. Riley takes the puck, throws it towards the net. Hit the outside of Luongo's cage. Van Riemsdyk goes to the point man. Riley had to play it off the wall, couldn't. Huberdeau flips it all the way down. No icing because Hayes is the first man back. He absorbs the hit. Panik takes the puck, the one-time member of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I'll tell you what, Toronto's skating well. It's not something that maybe the Panthers expected so early in this game.
Jussi Jokinen cuts in. Stick was tied up, though, and then it's broke. Bjugstad gave it away, and Kadri is out. You know, Toronto, the last 3 losses they've had to the Islanders, Rangers, and Montreal, all one-goal games. Their last game, they lost to the Canadiens 2-1 in a shootout. So last week or so, it's been a very competitive Toronto team. It's coming up short. Flip to the blue line, and Fleischmann gathers it in. Turns. Puts it towards the net. Upshaw cuts it off. Back for Fleischmann, and the shot goes wide. Fleischmann again, trying to get it around Upshaw. Battling Winnick. Upshaw behind the net works. Puts it in front again. Fleischmann couldn't quite get a stick on it. Kadri's out to center. And he flips it all the way down. Never got the red line. It's icing. Don't miss the Panthers' next home game. They take on Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, and the high-powered Chicago Blackhawks. Go to FloridaPanthers.com for a full schedule of upcoming games. Those back-to-back games on that weekend as well. After this weekend, Buffalo and Tampa on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon. Good ones for the kids. 15 of the final 22 after this road trip on home ice for the Panthers.
Panthers back-to-back jacks with the Blackhawks. They finish this road trip up in Chicago, then come home and play them.
Well, twice in 3 days, the 2 meetings of the season. Huberdeau battling. Kadri's able to clear. Barkov with a steal. Barkov stick handling. Bang to the corner. Boys knocked down the clearing attempt. Huberdeau's got the puck. Finds Ekblad at the line. Ekblad throws one wide. Robidoux plays the hop off the end boards and moves it out of the zone, then deflected off Huberdeau's skate and into the Toronto bench. 8:49 left in the first. Toronto's broken out on top. Teams, the factor early on, it's got the Leafs on top, 1-0 on the power play.
You know, I tell you what, the Swedes, they really bring up some good defensemen. This kid's a rookie. His 5th game in the NHL. Peter Granberg. Watch what he does here. One-on-one with Fleischmann. This is about as classic and as you want. He never gives Fleischmann a chance to get a good shot away. The puck was within Fleischmann's reach twice. Peter Granberg, only playing in his 5th game. Maybe the Leafs have something here. Here's a guy that was drafted in the 4th round. This is, I mean, all we talk about is trade for the Leafs. Maybe they've got a lot of surprises playing in the Marlies, and you see a play like that. To me, that's promising. You know, he's got decent size, 6'3", 200 pounds. Will only get bigger. And Peter Granberg showed that he's got a good feel for playing defense and how to handle man-on-man.
They better hope so. They have some.
When we hear from Dale Talon in the first intermission, that's one of the things that he addressed, that, you know, with the Panthers, there's a number of players in the AHL in San Antonio that, you know, perhaps the Panthers improve not via trade, but perhaps they can improve via call-up of their own players.
Yeah, well, there's certainly, definitely trades are in the works, but you've got to find somebody to trade with. And, you know, at March 3rd, they'll find out what they have left. And it appears to me that in Toronto, they're not in a hurry to make major changes, obviously. Don't need that for the playoffs now. They still have a coach that they call interim. That, to me, is pretty much putting a label on your team that we are going to try and work this unit for next year, starting next year.
Campbell ahead for Aaron Ekblad. Pops it out to center ice. Hayes took a chop at it. Couldn't get it in the zone. And on the 3rd try, gets it in front of the net. Quickly moved along. Jokinen and Gardner. Plays it on the wing for Ole Jokinen with speed. Jokinen puts it out in front. Tipped away by Shane O'Brien. Here's Jokinen chipping one wide on the backhand.
Now, Jokinen's so happy to be back at center. In Nashville, they put him on the wing. The off wing. Also playing the right wing as a left-hand shot. Never played that position in his life, he said. Not even back in Finland. And he found it tough in Nashville. So he's welcoming the fact that Peter Horacek, the coach, first game here, he put him back in his natural position. We, of course, in Florida, know Olli Jokinen as a centerman.
Gardner gets all the way over the Panther line, but they're offside. You can impress new business prospects, entertain clients, or give your employees a special night. The own luxury suite at the BB&T Center. For any Panthers game, concert, or event, call 954-835-PUCK or email premiumsales@floridapanthers.com. Riley spins at center, flips it over the line. Kadri shoots wide. Panik let it go through to the point. Then he puts one in front. Goodbranson is there. Fights off the Kadri check. And Goodbranson goes off the glass to get it into the lead zone. Riley under pressure. Upshaw takes the puck. Bolin, backhander, put it right in front. Bernier will cover.
Toronto Maple Leafs one win in their last 15 games, and their top 3 players have been in a major slump as you take it. JVR, Phil Kessel, Tyler Bozak have combined for 11 points. Minus 39 rating in their last 15 games. Wow, that's like the temperature outside. Previous 15 games, 29 assists, 16 goals. Tyler Bozak does have a goal tonight. She can add 6-6 to those 12 points to those totals now in the last 16 games. But it's been a tough go for those top 3 players for the Leafs.
Misses icing again on Toronto. That's about the 5th or 6th time already in this first period.
You know, just to kind of go on to what Billy was talking about, it's been a tough go. There was a period of time when the Leafs, after they saw the Florida Panthers on December 28th in Florida, their next 21 games, 16 of them were going to be on the road. And everybody was going to say, hey, if this team can be a playoff contender, they're going to have to do well in those 21 games. Well, they didn't. And that's why they are now looking up at playoff contenders like the Florida Panthers. They just did not do well on the road. But that's not to say they haven't done well at home. 16 wins on home ice. So they have played much better here, certainly the first part of the year. And that's why when you get into this game of the Florida Panthers, you've got to be ready. They have played well in front of their own crowd.
15 straight losses on the road for the Maple Leafs. Yeah. That's hard to do.
Now, the Panthers just 5 shots here in this game, and we talked before the game, the Panthers have only 2 goals in their last 3 about getting more offense going, and one of the ways is to think shoot first. But they haven't really put a lot of pressure on Bernier at all so far in this game.
Yeah, again, the shots are misleading. Panthers have 5, and Toronto Maple Leafs have 4. I'd say they're misleading, aren't they? Not really good scoring chances yet.
Branson, a big hit on Holzer. Barkov back to pick it free. Huberdeau, stolen though by Bozak. Huberdeau knocks it down, remains in the zone. It's Bozak trying a centering pass. Bozak again, turning. Knocked away by Kampfer. Comes up the boards, Huberdeau's there. And Huberdeau clears ahead for Brad Boyce. And he didn't get the red line. Is it far enough for icing? It's not. It's slowed down as the Panthers go for the change. The McKenzie line is on. David Booth couldn't handle the hard cross-ice pass. Petrovic for Kopecky. And now McKenzie on the wing with a shot blocked by Robidas. McKenzie stays after it. They'll take it away. And Holland shoots in. O'Brien with a big hit at the end boards. Bodies go down. Worked out in front. Shot deflected wide by Petrovic. Kopecky one-hands it up the wall. Riley there trying to hold it in. Kopecky able to win the battle and work it free. Alex Petrovic. Riley settles it down. Panthers complete the line change now as Hayes jumps on with Bukestad and Jokinen. Ekblad stepped up to get a piece of it, but then they shoot in with Polak. Continuous action as we approach 4 minutes to go here in the first. The Leafs goal came on the power play early on from Bozak. Panthers unable to clear. Panik puts it in front, and it was just behind Kadri and off his skate. Ekblad. Lead pass on the tape for Hayes. He gets it deep and gives chase. Bernier's going to play it here. Bernier tied up there. Now Bjugstad, shoved by Riley, knocked away by Riley.
Bernier taking advantage of being a goaltender there, in my view.
Jokinen back defensively to play it. Ryan Campbell has an opening. Walks into the Leafs line. Toronto back defensively. Panthers went for a change. Campbell waits. Cross-ice pass. Has a man, and Bernier with a stop on Upshaw. 3:22 to go in the first. Toronto up a goal. Erik Gudbranson, textbook with the check. We get late on in this opening period. Toronto in the lead with the power play goal early on as we take a look at Erik Gudbranson, whose ice time, Denny, has been going up.
You know, I talked to Erik Gudbranson about his style of play. He's becoming more physical. There's no doubt that in the last little while, he has been a much better all-around game. But I asked him about this very thing. He says, you know, I feel like I've developed patience. And I got to tell you, I couldn't tell a young defenseman any better advice about hitting than first be patient. Don't try and hit the guy before you're ready to make contact. And it was obvious there that Gudbranson is learning that lesson, and Holzner was the victim on that one. So you learn how to be patient. And that word goes on, eh? Goldie, you hear a lot about it for shooters as well. Be patient sometimes. And that'll help you as a goal scorer and certainly as a defenseman.
Bolin in the circle here in the offensive zone. And Olli Jokinen won another one. He's 5 out of 6 in the game, and a number of those have been head-to-head against Bolin.
We got 85-15 in the win percentage for Toronto. 85% they've won so far. That is a very not good stat. If you want to talk puck possession, analytics wouldn't be very good in favor of the Panthers right now.
The Panthers need that extended zone time.
Yeah.
Oh, another one. Good job by Gudbranson on David Clarkson.
Oh, he's playing mad. You got to love it.
Bolter carries. Hamper now. Round for Bolin. Has some open ice, and Dave Bolin gets the center. And he'll dump in.
You know what? We saw a nice hit by O'Brien. I think it would behoove the Florida Panthers to get Thornton in there, getting a couple of solid hits. Take the game away from the Toronto Maple Leafs in a physical manner.
Defensively, the Panthers, 5-on-5, they continue to do the job they have for a number of games now in a row, really controlling play, giving up very little 5-on-5.
They have not been able to draw a lot of penalties in the past. And if you up your physical game, you're bound to get some response from the opposition. Maybe a retaliatory penalty, maybe a slash.
Kessel stops along the boards, gives to Van Riemsdyk, puts it out in front, chips through the slot. Campbell's on it. Tight space for Barkov. Huberdeau battling along the wall. Barkov there as well. Glove down by Ekblad. Riley holds it in, but then blocked by Boys as it carries back down in the Toronto zone. 1.5 minutes to go in the opening period. He's dumped in, and that Bozak line goes for a change. Ryan Campbell sliding out to center. Put it to the blue line. Kopetsky shoots. It's a flex wide. Obadiah hit by Kopetsky. Penalty coming up. And we're going to get an interference call here and a power play coming up for the Panthers.
Well, whatever it takes, a little offensive zone time, whatever you do to draw the penalty. Granberg's going in. The penalty box for
penalty interference.
There it is. So the Florida Panthers will get their opportunity on the power play. Here you see number 8, Granberg, coming in. And that's interference in the sense that, the puck is nowhere near McKenzie. And as I said, Peter Granberg making his 5th career start as a young defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
The veteran group starts the power play here, and Bolin won the draw. Campbell gets set up center of the ice. Brad Boyd to Bolin. Boys again. Bolin again. Bolin twirls in. Feeds it through the slot. Leishman. Jussi Jokinen quickly to Campbell. Here's Brad Boys. Jokinen's in the high slot here. Boys holding, waiting. Gets it to Jokinen, who scores! Power play goal. Great patience by Boys, and Jokinen ties it.
That is one of the most experienced plays you're going to see from Jussi Jokinen. He was in a good spot, but not good enough. You'll see him back off about 2 feet. It's tremendous. He will back off a little bit, knowing the puck can't get to him. This makes it an easier pass. He backs off. Now you don't have to elevate and have the puck go down right away. And Brad Boys finds him right at the right time. Jussi Jokinen, Brad Boys, a couple of veterans, and I think Jussi Jokinen played that perfectly. He saw the check around him, backed off a little bit, got himself a little more space, and that's when Boys hit him with a perfect strike. And I tell you what, scoring early on the power play, huge positive energy for the Florida Panther bench.
And getting a goal from that veteran group is a huge positive for Florida.
You know, Gerard Gallant putting that group on the ice together after the Bukestad line had been on the ice. Delivering, very solid.
Van Riemsdyk tucks it in front. Luongo made the save. Jussi Jokinen takes a big hit there. Kessel turns, puts it out in front. Oh, good block by Camper. Bozak was looking for Van Riemsdyk in front. He comes all the way down. Hayes in a foot race here. And Hayes takes it away from Morgan Riley. Deflected in front by Bukestad, and it goes out of play. The Panther goal, Boys and Campbell get the helpers on the power play goal.
All right, Jimmy Hayes, that's the second time he has outskated someone to the puck and then made the quick pass to the front of the net. That's communication. Jimmy was telling me this morning, I'm asking about that communication between two guys. He and Bukestad, he said it gets better every game. I'm sure Bukestad yelled for that puck. Quick turnaround by Hayes, and the redirection went wide. But all of those little moves are very positive for the Panthers, who have been really troubled getting the puck to the net. And they have done better than that in this period, for sure. 7 shots, over 6 by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
1 face-off win in 7 tries in the first period for Dave Bolin. It was on the power play, and it helped set up the goal.
A key win. Good call.
Not how many, it's when and where, right?
Just he.
All right, here's
the
what we
rat
have.
Came through.
That's true. Here's what's coming up for you at our first intermission. Of course, we check in with Billy Lindsay downstairs. We will hear from Panthers general manager Dale Talon. The trading deadline is coming up. What he's thinking. A likelihood, maybe or maybe not. Will the Panthers make a move? What's he willing to do? You'll hear from Dale. And we'll recap the opening period after 1. The Cats and Leafs exchange power play goals. Panthers hockey on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by South Florida Ford. Visit us at southfloridaford.com. And by Doctors Hospital for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Online, it's baptisthealth.net/ortho. Roberto Luongo and the Panthers, first of a 5-game road trip. Second meeting this season between the Cats and the Leafs. The Panthers won the first one 6-4. Here in the first, power play goals for Bozak and Jokinen. And we're even after 20. The power play goal by Jussi Jokinen. A lot of conversation today about Olli Jokinen, the former Panther, traded to Toronto, making his debut in this game. But it was Jussi on the man advantage that got the game tied in the first. Jokinen beating Leafs goaltender Jonathan Bernier. While Roberto Luongo on the other side came in tonight with a .920 save percentage, 11-1 in his last 12 decisions. That goes back 7-8 years against these Toronto Maple Leafs.
Roberto Luongo, 20 wins on the season. That is 10 times he's done that in his career, Roberto, and his 4th as a Florida Panthers, 20 wins. Looking for 21 tonight.
Clarkson with a shot that's blocked, then thrown wide of the net. Taken by Scotty Upshall. Bats it out of the air and controls down the wing. Upshall streaking in with a shot on Bernier, who makes the save and holds the puck.
Tell you what, nice little speed by Upshall. You know, when the coach and the GM, particularly Dale Talon, I hope you're with us for the interview talking about we got 6 games till the trade deadline. That's got to hit home with a guy like Upshall for sure. He knows that it's a limited time now. You got to push. You got to put a little doubt in somebody's mind if Scotty wants to stay a Florida Panther or even impress one of the many scouts. There's like 14 of them here. I think Billy had the accurate number. There's 14 scouts in the building. They're all active. They're all evaluating right now, looking for the right trade for their team.
Dale Talon, as we see a little ice repair, made that point. We're not going to do anything silly. And you read between the lines there, and guys like Vincent Trocheck, Rocco Grimaldi, the players that are here, the young players, they want to see this group develop together. Here's a shot from Fleischmann that whistles wide. Campbell slides over to hold it on the line for Bolin. He moves it along for Fleischmann down low. Fleischmann trying to lose Morgan Riley, but Riley played him well. Kadri tries to clear, tip to the line, and Pollock at center. Moving in and shooting, blocked by Ekblad. Ekblad lost. Well, there's a loose glove on the ice. Not Ekblad's, not sure whose it was. Lead pass to the Panther line right off the benches. Kadri, good play by Camper. Honick gets to the forehand, puts it out in front, deflected on goal. Luongo finds it.
Well, good defense by Barkov there. He was in position to help his D. Talking about defense, so I tell you what, Shane O'Brien to me has played very well in the games that he has played this season for the Florida Panthers, this being number 6. Take a look. I mentioned those are the 2 guys right there that can really help get the handle on this game. O'Brien, a solid hit deep in the zone. We showed you Goodbranson a little earlier, and part of that hit was also Sean Thornton. There's still room to have a physical game, and the Florida Panthers can handle that in this game, and it may be an advantage at some point. A lot of smaller forwards skating for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
You know, you look at that Panther blue line without Kulikov and Mitchell. For the Panthers, half the D spent time in the AHL this year. Half this defense corps has been called up. And you got to give those individual players credit, the Panthers coaches credit. They haven't missed a beat defensively, and Barkov wins the battle. Goes in front for Goodbranson off his skate. Goodbranson hits the outside of the net. Huberdeau taken down in front, and Bozak takes away. Van Riemsdyk moving in. Blocked by Camper. Even Camper, Shane O'Brien, 2 of those call-ups. Not young players. Camper's 26. O'Brien's a veteran when you're more than 500 games played in the league. Of course, Alex Petrovic, only 22 years old, a Panther pick in 2010. Kulikov, second game of his 4-game suspension, so he's eligible to come back Sunday in Pittsburgh. And Willie Mitchell is back skating as the Leafs ice, and we expect to see him sometime soon. He's day-to-day.
You know, Goldie, we're talking about Dale Talon and the core of this hockey team is trying to explain to someone what it means to have experience. And you can take a look at the core of the Florida Panthers. You're talking about a lot of 19, 20, 21-year-olds, the older guys, Bukestad. These guys, just an example, could be playing really well 2 out of 4 games. Once they get a little more experience under their belt, they'll be playing really well 3 out of 4 games.
Point shot O'Brien right on.
And that makes the big difference between being a contender every year and in and out of the playoffs year after year. And that's what Dale Talon's building toward.
Clarkson driving towards the net. Alex Petrovic stood him up well. Clarkson back on it. He goes down. Bukestad trying to find that puck along with O'Brien. Petrovic with a hit there on Clarkson again. Clarkson returns to favor. Bukestad takes away. Leads Jokinen to center. Got to tuck it in front for Bukestad. Cut off by Riley. Jokinen takes back. Here's Hayes. 16 goals on the year for Jimmy Hayes. Bukestad with Komarov draped all over him. And a penalty.
There's no question about that.
Bukestad drew it. A delayed call. It's Hayes with a shot saved by Bernier. Bukestad gets it back to the point. Off the bench is Kopechki, the extra skater on the delayed call, but then played by Jokinen. That would be Oli, and the Panthers will go on the power play for the second time.
Well, there's no doubt that for Leo Komarov, holding was pretty evident, and he just kept on doing it. You just can't take your arms off your hockey stick and wrap around the individual. You can see here, he was let go, and finally the referee said, look, you know, I've given you probably a couple of chances last 5 seconds here, but you just will not stop doing it. And the nice thing about Bukestad, who is one of the guys that draws a lot of penalties, he turned right into him, kept going out to the puck, made the hole look worse.
The Panther veteran power play group begins the power play again. And it's Brad Boyes who set up the goal by Jokinen in the first. The Panthers win the draw. Bolin on the doorstep, try to get it in front, tipped away. Campbell holds it in. It's Boyes again. Centering for Jokinen. That went wide. That's exactly how they produced that power play goal in the first to tie it. Boyes wins the battle along the wall. Campbell for Fleischmann with a one-timer. Bernier the kick save. Campbell again. Fleischmann gloves it down. Jokinen attacks Winnick. Bolin there as well, and Bolin away with the puck. Brad Boyes, cross ice. Fleischmann again. That one went wide. Couple of good looks for Thomas Fleischmann on one-timers on that far side. Bolin under pressure, and he's pushed out of the zone by Bozak. Panthers have to reset. Bolin waiting. Now flips to the wall for Jimmy Hayes just on. Bolin moved it around the boards, past Fleischmann. Campbell still out there controls. They got Bukestad on the ice. There he is next to Campbell. They like to get him set up for a big shot. Bukestad's got it. Bolin pass in front, tipped away. Bukestad goes cross ice. Nice move by Fleischmann. Goes behind the net. Here's Bukestad. Score! Nick Bukestad is 21st of the year. And the Panthers have the lead.
Nick Bukestad, the only goal scorer to score 20 goals in a season since last year when it was Boyes who did it. Now he is tied. Brad Boyes had 21 goals last year. This is 21. And I'll tell you what, you go back to the bench and you look at Fleischmann and say, hey, Flash, what a great play. Fleischmann had a chance to shoot the puck, did not get the look that he wanted. He kept the puck, and look at all the blue shirts going down and staying away from Bukestad. He finds him with a great pass, and there it is, in the net for the lead on another power play goal. Beginning of the game, I talked about a guy making right decisions, and that was Fleischmann. 19 shots on goal in 17 games coming into tonight. The only guy with more shots was Bukestad.
Panthers have the lead. They are 2 for 2 on the power play. And boy, they had a little desperation. They won a lot of battles on that power play. Keep that puck in the zone. Boy, Bukestad red hot. What a year he's having, emerging for the Panthers. He's locked up the Cats. Late December, signed him to a 6-year contract extension. Bolin got a well-deserved assist on the goal. And here comes Brad Boyes firing over the Toronto line. Morgan Riley played it nicely with a stick. Goodbranson cuts it off to shoot in.
Nick Bukestad, the youngest U.S.-born player to hit the 20-goal mark this season.
Tell you what, 16 all of last year for Bukestad. Now 21 for him in his 56th game this year. You look at a guy like him, we all talk about it. What is the ceiling for Nick Bukestad? You only can wonder.
Much more consistent this year, Goldie. That's been the key for Bukestad. Every night he shows up to play.
Here's a shot straight on from the sharp angle by Komarov. Luongo got the pads on it.
And don't forget, Nick Bukestad drew that penalty to start it all off. So he's the guy that drew the penalty, and he's the guy that scored the goal.
Yeah, good point. This will be icing on the Panthers.
Well, it's a good point that you make, Billy, because of the Florida Panthers, the guy who draws the most penalties, the most minors, has been Nick Bukestad. And it's not because of trying to embellish a play. It's mostly because, like we did with Komarov, he spins on a guy, he will lean into the puck. He's very long, he's very tall, very hard to defend against. And typically defensemen or forwards trying to watch him in the offensive zone end up grabbing a hold of him, and that's where these penalties come.
3 goals in his last 4 games now for Bukestad.
That size is such an advantage. 6'6". Komarov only 5'11", but that size, you can draw so many penalties.
We got an offside call here. The Panthers in the second grab the lead. Nick Bukestad on the score sheet. 4 play goals by Jokinen and Bukestad, and Billy, the Panthers now have the lead here in Toronto.
And the Panthers bringing the Thunder physically. They were down 1-0, and I think this game turned with the physical play by the defensemen, especially Eric Goodbranson. The big head as he just lowers the boom. And then one more time against David Clarkson. Wow. And then Shane O'Brien into lineup, the veteran, making his presence felt. They're punishing these Leafs forwards, and that's what you want to do. These Leafs forwards can skate. They're talented. But when you're playing a physical style like that, they're going to be a little hesitant in the offensive zone.
Well, Billy, was interesting as well because you talked to Shane O'Brien after the first intermission. And O'Brien said, hey, these guys, we know about their struggles. We got to keep taking it to them, see how much they really want it. I thought that was a telling quote.
To make the game uninteresting, get them to be clock watchers. When is this game over? That's when you've got total command over the opposition. It's only 2-1, but 2 power play goals are really key, I think, in turning the game around for the Panthers.
Bozen throws it deep in the Panther zone. Petrovic is back. Plays it up the boards, gets it to center. Scooped up by Dave Bolin. Bolin cuts to the middle. Bolin still with it. Takes a shot, deflected away. Fleischmann and Bolin set up that Bukestad goal. Point shot here deflects and goes into the netting out of play. Group tickets are available for Panther games at the BB&T Center, and they've got some big ones coming up, including next Thursday against Chicago. Organize your group outing. Call 954-835-PUCK or check it out at FloridaPanthers.com. The Cats starting a 5-game trip next Thursday, home for Chicago, and then back-to-back on the weekend against Buffalo and Tampa Bay with day games.
Another 5-game road trip?
Another one. You're stuck with me for 7 more days, buddy. Wait till Lindsay gets a hold of the deep dish pizza in Chicago next week. Forget it. He'll be napping for 48 straight hours. Look at Hayes carrying in front Bukestad. And it deflected wide.
There's that communication again that we talked about earlier. Hayes and Bukestad.
Panthers have picked it up. They're smelling some blood. Jokinen, it just comes out of the zone, though, looking for the point man.
What about the pile of pastrami we're going to eat tomorrow in Montreal?
Oh, the smoked beef.
They call it smoked beef in Canada, Billy. Okay, you're not in Idaho right now. Or Montana, wherever you're from there. Smoked meat.
Okay.
Utah, wherever, somewhere out west Lindsay's from. Huberdeau sweeps in right off the bench on the shift change.
Merci, Monsieur Popin.
Oui.
There you go. Hey, that's pretty good, Billy. You'll go a long way in Montreal.
Campbell on the pinch. Huberdeau takes the puck. Huberdeau works down low. Lost it, but Brad Boyes quickly over to play for Ekblad. Back around it comes. Huberdeau gives chase again. Barkov with Riley. Barkov wins the battle. Point man is Aaron Ekblad. Takes a wrister. It actually hit the back of Barkov. Huberdeau after it again. Boyes steps in. Panthers bringing the effort and winning the battles along the wall. Here's Aaron Ekblad. Setting up Campbell for the wrister. Deflects wide, and then Boyes tips it. And he just missed it. A penalty coming up. Oh, the Panthers put on the hard hats and got to work on that shift, and now a call.
.46 Toronto minor penalty tripping.
There you go. That is a convincing call by referee Wes McCauley. There's that stick right there in the legs now.
Starting to see that extended zone time starting to wear the Leafs down in their offensive end, or their defensive end.
And they did the job there on the shift change. Panthers have now won 8 of the 9 faceoffs in this second period. And here's another one on the power play in the offensive zone, and Jokinen wins it back for Campbell. Panthers 2 for 2 on the man advantage so far. Boyes for Bolin. Comes back to the point. Ryan Campbell walks the line. Fleischmann, Campbell, Boyes. Thought about the one-timer, instead goes cross ice all the way through. Fleischmann gathers it in. Thomas Fleischman, full puck control again on the man advantage for the Panthers. But now stolen away by Robidas. Fleischman heads off.
Let's not fall in love with your pretty passing. Florida Panthers, at some point, a pass is made so you can develop a shot.
Huberdeau, the one change on the power play after the clear, came on for Fleischman. And Jokinen gives it to him. Jonathan Huberdeau sets up. Huberdeau holds, goes cross ice. But Bolin lost it, and look out. Leaves shorthanded, trying for a chance with a pass behind Holland. Luongo threw it out to center. Bolin on the shoot-in, and now the Cats will get the wholesale change. Bjugstad, Hayes, Barkov, and Ekblad all jump on.
I don't think there was a shot, was there?
Not yet.
Not yet. A lot of nice passes. Panthers got to make that sure they redirect.
Huberdeau broke his stick there. And now we'll get the call offside. That broke Huberdeau's stick. It was while he was receiving a pass, his stick broke.
The players will tell you about frustration on that part. I mean, you can never tell when the stick is going to hold up to the tensions of a hockey game. Florida Panthers, 2 power play goals in this game. Last time they scored 3, not so long ago. That was against Anaheim on home ice. Panthers are getting a lot of good looks. The reason the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing a very tight box, meaning they're not challenging the outside. But if you keep moving the puck on the perimeter, you're not furthering your cause.
Barkov lost it at the line. Panthers have to reset again, down to 20 left in the power play. And Bjugstad is in. Bjugstad holds. Bjugstad has it knocked away. Riley couldn't clear. Ekblad read it well. Huberdeau under pressure here and take it away. Hayes closed on Riley to give it back to Ekblad. Final seconds of the man advantage. Bjugstad swings it down the wall. Hayes finds it. Barkov in the corner as Polak joins the play out of the box. And stolen away by Winnick. So the Panthers now 2 for 3 on the power play. Toronto gets a big kill there. Keeping it a 1-goal game midway through. Thornton never touched that puck, so it's an icing call.
Yeah, that was the idea, to be able to get a tip on the play as Sean Thornton just got on the ice. Sean Thornton, one of the reasons why the Florida Panthers got him, he got 132 fights in regular season in his career. And I'll tell you what, he does it masterfully. Usually when it's needed, you're probably not going to see him get into one right now. Team is ahead. Things are going well for the Panthers.
Puck bouncing around now, and Bozak settles it down. Gardner at the point with a wrister. Luongo the save. The Branson went down with Riemsdyk. Here's Gardner again. Tucks it over to Holzer. Puts it in front. Redirected by Van Riemsdyk, and Luongo made a stick save. First pressure in a while from the Leafs, but Barkov able to tip it out.
Even the Leafs here from ice level, though, watching their facial expressions, just kind of going through the motions. Not a lot of emotion on their face. Kind of a team just playing as individuals. They know that this group right now is struggling.
Boy, how important would be that third goal for the Panthers now, Billy?
It would put a lot of doubt in the Maple Leafs.
Riley deflected to Kopetsky's shot, up and out of play. 8:19 left here in the second period in Toronto. Players showing their respect on their feet as they honor a member of the military here in Toronto. Hayes and Bjugstad take us inside, Denny.
You know, I tell you what, with these two guys playing together, they're really, really starting to get a lot of chemistry, and it doesn't just happen. Watch here, Bjugstad yelling for the pass from Jimmy Hayes. You'll see better there. Look at the mouth. Yeah, Hazy, give me the puck. And it makes it a lot easier for your line mate. These two together are becoming two of the elites in the NHL in terms of the amount of goals that they put on a per minute on ice basis. Not on a per game basis, but you start adding up the amount of minutes they play, the amount of production they bring, and they're right there with the elites. I mean, we're talking about guys like Getzlaf and Perry and other guys in St. Louis and, you know, some of the stronger duos in the NHL. These two are getting there. You know, Goldie, you talked about Bukestad in particular, and Hayes getting much more comfortable. They're 22 and 25. And that's the exact point we're making about the Barkov and the Ekblats and the Huberdeaus. Give them a couple more years, and they'll be playing those 3 out of 4 all good games. Maybe even 4 out of 5. You're just not born with experience. It just has to come with time, and that's why the core is so excited for the Florida Panthers, because they're gaining that experience every day.
They've got a number of players, maybe up to nearly half a dozen in the AHL they think are NHL players, and Dale Talon's eyes lit up when he was asked about some of his prospects in college. Panthers have a number of them, a lot of defensemen, including a pair at Boston College, and Matheson and McCaushin, Michael Downing in Michigan. Here comes Fleischman moving in. They give to Boland. Out in front, Upshaw with a chance, and it misses. Oh, Dave Boland set up Scotty Upshaw for a golden opportunity.
Well, nobody feels worse than Scotty Upshaw on that one. He had all day to find an opening, and he missed wide.
Hey, what? It's another game where Boland and Fleischman really working hard, playing well.
I think Boland heard you early in the game, and he started bearing down, starting with his face-off circle win.
Scotty Upshaw banged his fist on the boards when he went to the bench. He was upset. Hasn't scored a goal in 18 games. He wanted that one bad. Came right down the slot.
Bukestad finds a puck here. Bozak swiped it away. And turns and clears to the blue line. Phil Kessel looking for some space. Right at the Panther line. And then he turns it over. Jussi Jokinen. Bukestad waiting and spinning. Kessel watches him. Bukestad gives to Jokinen. Campbell at the point. Rister in front, the fucking score! Hayes and Bukestad were both in front. I believe it goes to Hayes. I believe it's a 3-1 Panther lead.
You got it correct. It's Hayes' goal.
And I believe Brian Campbell has been talking about keeping his head up and taking a wrist shot rather than trying the heavier slap shot. And this is exactly what Brian Campbell does. But all of this, I got to tell you, it is so impressive what Bukestad does. Bukestad covered the puck and protected it along the boards long enough for everybody to get in position. And then he himself gets in position in front of the net. Bukestad, we talked about how big he is, the length of reach, how he's able to protect the puck. That opened up the opportunity for Brian Campbell to shoot.
4 goals, 7 points. Last 8 games for Jimmy Hayes. And the Panthers with 3 in a row. That's their first even strength. It's the first even strength goal either way of the game. And the Panthers are now up by a pair on Toronto. Boys down low. Try to get it in front, but he was stick checked by Winnick. Ekblad able to play it and hammer it right back in. Hayes his 17th of the year.
Just used that body position to protect himself. Morgan Riley was behind him, but because of that size, no way Riley could get to his stick and tie up his stick. That stick was free. Got a piece of that puck for the deflection and the goal. Boy, that size is such an advantage, and we've seen it a lot in this game.
2-point games now for Campbell and Jokinen. Jussi Jokinen a goal and an assist. Campbell with a couple of helpers. O'Brien played Cousin well. Brandon Kozun, young player for the Leafs. On this 4th line with David Booth, they've got Kadri in the middle now. And that group. And Kozun gets the Panther line, and Steven Kampfer just shouldered him right off the puck. And here comes Derek McKenzie over the blue line. Kadri on the back check. And he's able to take away. Panthers get the change.
Call the flight attendant. Your seat's available.
What did you say, Lindsay?
So call the flight attendant. Your seat's available.
Oh, someone went
Kampfer.
flying. I
Toronto
got
getting another penalty here. Again, interference.
the interference at the blue line.
Drawn on the 20, 2 minutes for interference.
And a power play coming up again. The Panthers smelling some blood. Big Jimmy Hayes makes it 3-1. Panthers are seizing control of this game. 3 straight goals, 2 on the power play. They're going back on the power play now. Last goal scored by Jimmy Hayes.
You know, Jimmy Hayes getting a big goal, 17. That's his career high. Well, this is the shot right here. You've got to love this by Brian Campbell. He was taking slap shots early in the season, got away from that, and he puts it right to the net, redirection. Watch right in the middle of your screen. There's a stick in the legs of Kempfer. He goes down. So the Florida Panthers have David Booth to thank to go to the penalty for interference on Kempfer, and again now have a power play. And this is where the killer instinct really comes in. Florida Panthers can open this game up wide open right now with a power play goal.
In this period, the Panthers have won 11 of the 14 faceoffs. Here's Jokinen starting it on the power play, and they win it again. Campbell sets up, had a little bobble there, put it in the corner. Boys got it in front, but Robidas was stationed well, and he clears it all the way down. So little change on the power play, Denny, as they now tonight have begun with this unit of the veterans, Jokinen, Bolin, Fleischmann, Boys, and Campbell. Start things off on the man advantage, and it's worked. Boys trying to dig it free. Fleischmann and Bolin help out. Bolin got it up high. You see Jokinen moving in. Fake the shot. Campbell. Here's Fleischmann. Bolin is out in front. Brad Boys, one-timer. And Bolin was right there. Bernier made the save. Polak grabs Bolin out of the way.
Something going on between Polak and Bolin. They've been talking while the puck is at the other end of the ice. And there you see come again together, 46 in black. And there you see Bolin right in front of the net. Wow, that's a pretty good whack. You can hear that. Of course, Bolin, being the rat that he is, lets himself fall on the goalie Bernier.
How much quicker is the puck movement? It's on the stick and off the stick. Getting the least running around, but it's the puck movement that's been effective on the power play.
Barkov wins the draws. They switch units. Ekblad over to Huberdeau. Huberdeau tucks it back up high. Ekblad had it knocked down. And the Leafs get a clear.
Huberdeau's got to be handling the puck much more crisply. Got to get into it a little more here to keep this going, because he is one of those better passers Florida Panthers can count on when you're at man advantage, particularly.
Over the years, the Panthers have had real good success here in Toronto and overall against the Leafs. Panthers won the first meeting 6-4, trying to add to the lead here. Ekblad, 9 goals on the season for the 19-year-old D-man. What a rookie year it's been. He moves it over to Huberdeau. Puts it in front. Hayes turns, gives to Barkov, though. Huberdeau for Hayes, and he misses on the one-timer. He was in prime position. Bukestad lets go. That's wide, and he'll carry to the line and out.
And I tell you what, the only reason that shot was wide is because he was aiming for the blade of Jimmy Hayes, who is right in front of the net. I think his stick was on the ice. Not sure what happened to the puck. May have bounced over, but that shot was totally intended to be a redirection.
Kampfer on the ice now. Lead pass out of the reach of Upshaw. Hustles after it. Upshaw! And it goes wide as Bernier came way out. Oh, did Scotty Upshaw get on his horse there?
Well, he's lit up the Jets here in this period. A couple of opportunities. He showed his sheer speed.
Finishes a check there. Bolin checks Booth, who's out of the penalty box.
And the Panthers looking to exploit this. Leafs team has been good on the penalty kill. They were 32 for 35 their last 13 games, only allowed 3 power play goals. Panthers power play has been dominant.
They were able to kill off the last 2, so the Panthers now 2 for 4 in the game on the man advantage.
Now the Florida Panthers certainly had their opportunities. Good puck passing around the power play opportunity. And as I said, the Panthers have had games where when the power play goes, well, they become totally dominant. The last of those games, we talked about the Anaheim win back on home ice. 3 power play goals in that 6-2 victory.
Yeah, the Panthers hadn't had a multiple power play goal game all year, and now have had 3 since the All-Star break when they kind of changed the alignment around. They win a face-off here, and Ekblad puts it in the corner for Barkov. Huberdeau in tight quarters, gets it in front, but tipped away by Olli Jokinen. Clarkson to center, but he turns it over and batted ahead for Jonathan Huberdeau. At the line, bodies bang. And it's cleared away. Huberdeau's got to go retrieve his stick.
A lot of people around him. Huberdeau was looking for boys. I think he may have had him had he been able to get the pass through.
Ooh, Campbell got a stick up in the face there. He's complaining to the ref saying, hey, did you see that? As Komarov got his stick up high, and Campbell with some words for Leo Komarov. Campbell's upset. You don't see it often out of Brian Campbell, who's a smooth customer, but he did not like this, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, he may be bleeding in one of the situations the Panthers had the other night. There you see the stick up right into the face of Campbell. And sometimes it becomes even more dangerous when you're wearing that shield because the stick could get caught underneath there. Not the case, fortunately, for Brian Campbell.
Really should have been a call. Bozak down low. He's got the Toronto goal. Now Phil Kessel with a shot. Luongo there to make the save and hold it. Got to be tough for Roberto Luongo. He has not seen a lot of action in this game.
You know what? He hasn't stopped focus though. Watch the way he positions himself on the side of the goalpost. Look at that. It's sort of a different style where he gets the right leg down and then hugs the goalpost. Talking to Rob Tallis today, it's a way to cover that side of the net, and Roberto Luongo does really well. There's another guy that does it in a similar fashion just as well. His name is Carey Price, who right now leads the league in almost every goaltending department. That is the kind of shot that a guy like Rob Tallis never saw in his hockey career. Guys weren't shooting from the corner back then, but now it's become a staple, and of course Bjugstad can tell you all about that as well. Goaltenders not hugging the post, covering the short side. Bjugstad, last couple of goals he's had have been on the short side. Roberto has been, to say one word, outstanding. I said he's allowed 3 or fewer goals in 40 of the 45 games he's played in. I remember sitting in the dressing room, goaltenders would always say, give me 3 goals. We're going to win the game or we'll surely go to overtime.
McKenzie carries. Stephen Kampfer jumping up offensively. Boy, has he played well since being called up for Florida. Bolin bothering Gardner, works it free. This is McKenzie. McKenzie holds, goes behind the net for Fleischmann. Fleischmann spins free from Gardner, puts it right in front. Bolin couldn't get a stick on it though. And Kessel ahead for Kadri, who shoots in. Jimmy Hayes back to play it. Hayes gives to Jokinen and joins the play. Boland is up over the line. Boland will whine and shoot. It's blocked. Boland again, and that's blocked again.
A little gasp there was Boland. He was on primarily to get the face-off.
Bjugstad from the sharp angle in front for Jokinen. He couldn't get a shot away. Oh, Nick Bjugstad with a good look for Jussi Jokinen. He was all alone in front.
You know what? Jussi Jokinen gets a power play goal in tonight's hockey game. That's another sort of thank you. It's another little momentum that he climbs today. A mountain he climbs, I should say. Hadn't scored a power play goal since the last game of the season last year. And this year, the workhorse Jokinen came into the game with 28 points. 22 of those were at even strength.
Face-off win, but the puck comes all the way back. Petrovic quickly. Komarov right on him and hits him hard, and that's a penalty. They're going to get Leo Komarov, and now Clarkson and O'Brien are going to go. Couple of veterans. Shane O'Brien and David Clarkson letting them fly.
This is what O'Brien can bring. He can throw them as well as anybody. Clarkson's a tough customer.
They'll wrestle down. O'Brien still wants a piece of him. And the Panther bench likes it. And Denny, this goes, you talk about that depth that we've talked about. Stephen Kampfer comes in playing super hockey. Yeah. Shane O'Brien comes in, does something right there for you. These guys aren't just getting called up and punching the time clock. They're making their presence felt.
You've got to be able to answer the bell, whatever it is. And I tell you what, a coach to me, okay, and we're getting a high stick penalty at first. We'll go to where the penalties are first. Right side of your screen, there's the fight. Sort of Clarkson going after O'Brien, and O'Brien is certainly a customer who says, I welcome it. No problem there. The other thing I want to remind you of is that you're going to see a guy with number 72 on his jersey who will also be a willing participant in the pugilist department. That is part of the toolbox that every coach needs. It may not be the one enforcer that only plays 4 minutes, but you have to have guys that can cover that part of the game.
Final seconds of the period on the power play. Boys shoots. Bolin takes it, puts it in front. Jokinen shoots wide. Can they get one more shot away? The puck will go out of play with less than a second left. So the power play will carry over. This is 5 straight power plays in the game for the Panthers, Denny. 4 of them in this second period.
Now, no pity on the mighty Leafs, even in their home building. The center of the hockey universe is getting beat up by the referees here. But actually, I can't think of a penalty that was not deserved.
Panthers scored twice in the second. Bjugstad gave them the lead. Hayes added to it. It's 3-1 Florida.
Interestingly enough, the goals come in bunches. The last time these two teams met, it was Toronto who scored 4 goals in the second period in Florida. Then the Panthers came back to score 4 in the third to win the game 6-4. So we're seeing here some scoring going on as well. I can only imagine it'll get better.
Second intermission. You don't want to miss it here from Toronto. It is Black History Month. We will pay homage with really a great story of a player from way back when. You don't want to miss that. Our player spotlight. All the highlights as the Panthers click for 2 goals in the second period. And the stingy Cats in the third, one of the best in the league defensively in that final period, have a 3-1 lead heading into it. Panthers hockey on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. The first of a 5-game road trip for the Panthers. An opportunity to pull within 2 points of a playoff spot. They're 20 minutes away now after a solid second period. Teams getting back on the ice as we get set to start the third period in the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, with the Panthers on top by 2 after a solid second period.
Well, let me take you into the adventure of having a little experience and recognizing what's happening around you. Watch the way UC Jokinen in the high slot on the power play recognizes the defense put up by the Leafs. He sees that if I go back a little bit, I'll be giving my teammate Brad Boyes a little better target. Steps back, beautiful target for Boyes, who lays a perfect pass, and that was a power play goal. UC Jokinen's first power play goal since the last game of last season. And that was, of course, with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Nick Bjugstad, 22 years old. His 3rd season, 2nd full year in the NHL, and he remains hot. 21 goals now to lead the Panthers. And the go-ahead goal. And defensively, what a job the Panthers have done here tonight. In front of Roberto Luongo. Only faced 13 shots so far in the game.
Panthers certainly have drawn enough penalties. Toronto's discipline not quite there.
And the Panthers start the third, continuing on the power play.
Exactly, and this is where you really want to be able to continue your dominance. You know, you don't want to just, play the game according to how your opponent is playing. You have a standard that you want to keep. So we'll see if they do that here for the Panthers. Second only to Calgary, and goals given up in third period.
They can really take charge if they can convert again on the man advantage. It's Dave Bolin again down low. He's had a strong game here tonight back in Toronto. Bolin out in front, tipped away by Robidas. Boyes finds it and swings it back to the line for Campbell. Fleischmann now has a look, try to pass in front, blocked away. Fleischmann regains possession. Bolin again. Here's Fleischmann, one-timer, missed wide. Carries to the blue line, and it was bouncing on Brian Campbell.
Well, that was his shot. Fleischmann had set himself up twice. This was the very best time that Campbell hit him, where Fleischmann had time to get the shot away, had a clear shot, and missed it out.
And to win tonight, that playoff race gets really interesting. 2 points back you would be with the winner of the Boston Bruins. You have 3 games left with Boston, so shaping up to be a great final stretch of the season.
Yeah, you want to be able to put it in your own hands, and obviously closing within 2 with a victory tonight would be big. Leafs try to break in shorthanded. Ekblad knocks it away from David Booth. Holland down low, able to work that puck. So Toronto in possession shorthanded. Luongo glove save, rebound tipped wide off the stick of Booth. One more rush for the Panthers and the man advantage. Bukestad at center. On the wing, Huberdeau. Picked up by Barkov. Hayes put it behind the net. Hayes after it. And Booth able to get out, so Toronto kills it off. Long shift for Booth. Here's a shot right on, and Luongo makes the save. Tough offensively for David Booth. Just 1 assist in his last 24 games. Panther season ticket holders, we appreciate your support, and thanks for watching tonight. And the code is gloves for this game, so log on to mypanthersrewards.com and put the broadcast code in the next 24 hours. Panthers back home after this long road trip next Thursday for the Blackhawks. This is the first of 5 away. We're back with you Thursday night, 7:30 from Montreal on Fox Sports Florida. Bolin wins another faceoff. That's 10 in a row for Bolin in the game after he lost the first 6, so he's now going at well over 60%. Offside call on the Panthers. Billy?
Jimmy Hayes has a goal in this game, but it's more about goals for Jimmy Hayes now. Look at this play, the turnover. Now watch him put his head down and get on his horse and skate on the back check against David Booth and help out the switch, but he gets back, and that allows David Booth to stay to the outside. Jimmy Hayes there moving his feet, and he can skate from a big guy, but you play like that and you score a goal. Just stay in the lineup every single night.
Panthers made the trade last season. Dale Talon acquired Hayes from Chicago. Loose puck at center. Deflected. And gloved down by Van Riemsdyk. Kampfer with Bozak. Kampfer got it to Bolin. And it rolls out. Steven Kampfer hustles over to play it for the Panthers. McKenzie gets the red line. Chops it in. Thornton bothering Kessel. And now it's McKenzie. And Thornton again. Gardner jumps on it, pressured by McKenzie. Clears it all the way down. No icing. Leafs scored first. Bozak on the power play, 4:03 into the game. Jokinen responded late in the first period on the man advantage. Then Bukestad on the power play early in the second. Hayes added a 5-on-5 goal to make it 3-1. This will be an icing on Toronto.
You know, different than what you might have expected even watching from the beginning. It has not been a game with a ton of shots on goal for the goaltenders. Florida Panthers have had 16 shots on goal, and they've got 3 goals. Of course, 2 of those on power play, so those are tougher on Bernier. But, boy, he is used to getting a lot more shots, and sometimes you wonder, you know, does a goaltender need to get more shots to get hot, to feel good?
Campbell shoots, knocked down in front by Kadri. Look at Bukestad using the shoulder to fend off Kadri and feed Ekblad at the point. His wrister block. Ekblad held it in. Hayes still after it. Good puck pursuit by the Panthers, and Jokinen throws it behind the net. Panik looking to clear and has Kadri. Hayes on the back check, wouldn't let him through center cleanly. Here's that defense Billy just talked about from Jimmy Hayes.
Denny, the Panthers had 105 shots the last 3 games coming into this one. 35 a game, only 2 goals. 16 shots, 3 tonight. Maybe less is more in the shot department.
I think you're absolutely right. But, you know, Billy, they've been getting those shots, as you know, much more quality. Much more quality.
That's a big thing, yeah. It's not about quantity. Definitely want the quality over quantity.
Huberdeau on the forecheck, but now Olli Jokinen. Polak tracks it down, moving down the wing with a shot. Luongo, glove save, and he'll hold it.
You know, we've mentioned it a couple of times in this game. It's become so apparent, but he's playing with much more oomph right now. You can see that he leans into bodies. That was a tremendous way of separating the opponent from the puck, particularly when you're going against a guy like Kadri and his Bjugstad. I mean, there's got to be 20, 25 pounds difference, not to mention the height. That's when you've got to be thinking of using your body. But so far, at 22, Bjugstad is at that level now where he's starting to use all of his assets. And it's showing up pretty good. 21 goals on the season. That's what Brad Boyes had last year to lead the Florida Panthers. And I can't imagine Bjugstad is finished at scoring only 21 goals this season.
Thomas Fleischmann in the 11-12 season when the Panthers won a division at 27. So Bjugstad with a chance as this season moves along. Really close in on some good numbers. Scored 16 last season, he did. And he's locked up on a 6-year contract. Kopetsky finds the puck at the line off a turnover. Down low for Sean Thornton. Interesting, 3 of the 4 right wingers for the Panthers tonight were drafted by Toronto. Hayes, Boyes, and Thornton. Steven Kampfer rushes through center. Kampfer is in and he shoots. Glove save by Bernier. And then Kampfer takes a little shot getting into it. Holzer, McKenzie steps in for Kampfer. And Sean Thornton, you know, he is not far behind. Corbinian Holzer turns around and look who's got him. That's Sean Thornton.
That's right. That is the difference. When you talk, a coach will stay in the dressing room or say in the dressing room, listen, we have to, boys, bring up that part of our game. Let's show some team toughness. And that's exactly what you're seeing right here. Kampfer hasn't done anything to deserve that push, except the fact that Holzer is thinking, you're shorter than me, maybe I'll take advantage of you. He must have forgot who the line mates were.
It's over when Sean Thornton gets in there. It's done. Walk away, go back to your bench. Sean Thornton gets in that mix. There's no Maple Leaf right now that's going to get involved with Thornton.
I just love the energy, guys. Both on and off the ice, really, Sean Thornton just brings to a team.
Irreplaceable.
Boyes will go in the circle here in the offensive zone, and he won it. Ekblad over to Campbell. The wrister in front just skipped wide of the net.
There's a bowling going on in front of the net.
Yeah, Barkov really got buried in front by Polak. Here's Panik looking for a chance. Brad Boyes picked his pocket. And Boyes smartly gets the red line and gets it deep.
It's one thing the Panthers have done well all game, even when they were behind. They don't make those little back passes in dangerous areas. They keep the puck going ahead.
Ekblad turned it back at his own line. Huberdeau picks it up, but had a little trouble. Now he just shoots in. Panthers got to change. The Bjugstad line back on. A little more than 6 minutes gone by here in the third. 3 consecutive goals by the Panthers starting this road trip. Eastern Canada, then Pittsburgh, and then Chicago. 5 away from home for Florida. Bjugstad gives to Hayes. Makes sure he gets the clear and then goes after it, chasing Gardner. He unloaded quickly. And Holzer flips it in. Kozin with a steal. Booth along the wall. Played it back down low. O'Brien is there. Bounces off the Holland check. And Jokinen just able to get enough of it to get it to Bjugstad for the clear.
Been at a lot of buildings ice level. This is one of the quietest I've been in. And it's sold out here. You can hear a pin drop here at ice level.
You know, what a rough go it's been for the Toronto Maple Leafs after a real good start to the season. Fleischmann pushes it further along. Fleischmann at the goal line. It just rolled on him.
Well, like the New York Giants, though. You don't think tickets are spoken for years to come.
Yep. Branson eluded the big check from Komarov. Robida in the corner just buried Fleischmann. Fleischmann's back up. It rolls in front, and Luongo won't take any chances. 12:20 to go. Here in Toronto, Sean Thornton, where there's physicality. There's number 22. Panthers up 3-1. Nick Bjugstad on that Panther bench. Billy, he is simply one of the best young goal scorers right now in the NHL.
Tricky Nicky getting it done in his second full year in the NHL, and you want to take a look at players 22 or younger in the NHL and where they rank in goals on their team. Nick Bjugstad is tied with Nikita Kucherov in Tampa Bay, Johansson, Schwartz, and Forsberg, Monahan down that list, but Nick Bjugstad right now at the top of the list, and look at the angles that Nick Bjugstad is able to score goals from. Sharp angles, doesn't matter. He's got a really quick release, and I think that's what's most effective. It's hard, it's quick, and it's accurate. Scores from all areas on the ice. We've seen him score a number of goals right on the goal line. The best player that I ever saw in the NHL score from right at the goal line was Mario Lemieux. I'm not comparing Nick Bjugstad to Mario Lemieux, but Lemieux would do that a lot. He'd shoot right from the goal line and just kind of bank it off goaltenders. Nick Bjugstad has done that a number of times this year.
You know, I will tell you, Nick Bjugstad has figured something out. He went almost a month. From January 8th to February 3rd, he went 12 games and scored 1 goal. Major difference. In the last 7 games since then, 29 shots and 4 goals. So he figured it out before anybody had to tell him, I've got to shoot the puck a lot more to get back on the scoring side.
Here's a chance, Clarkson, but deflected by Petrovic. Up and out of play. Actually, it was Olli Jokinen on the shot there. Olli with his first game in a Leafs uniform tonight, but he's probably not long for Toronto, is he?
No, he told me today that he figures I've got 5 games. I've got 5 games. That's the number of games before the March 2nd deadline. And he figures that he may be on the way. And you know what? Dave Nonis, the general manager, has even said he probably deserves to be on a winning team or a contender. Olli Jokinen, for all he has done in the NHL.
Kessel shoots. Luongo able to make that stop, Denny.
Just to finish the story, went almost 800 games in the NHL before he played his first playoff game. And that was with the Calgary Flames. So a guy like that, who's really put in 1,200 games over his career, probably deserves to be on a contender. And he can help. He still has that ability to play. And he still loves the game. So he may get that shot, given, of course, that the dancing partner gives something back to Toronto.
Well, after waiting all that time, he played 6 games in the playoffs, and now he's waited a few more years. So 1,268 games in the regular season, but only 6 in the playoffs for Jokinen. That's the biggest disparity as far as the numbers for a player in the history of the league.
Well, I think before him was Jay Bouwmeester.
Bouwmeester now found a home in St. Louis, a perennial team that goes to the playoffs.
By the way, it beat 4-0 by Dallas in the second period right now. Dallas missing Tyler Seguin after the injury collision with Kulikov.
Pollock at the point, fires Luongo with a good save. That right pad, he kicked it out. And Goodbranson ahead for Barkov. Panthers coming off the game where they gained a point with the late goal by Bjugstad against those Blues. The Panthers really dominated the third period on Sunday at the BB&T Center, tying a season high with 21 shots in the third period before getting it tied and dropped the shootout. Kadri puts it out in front. Panthers are on it. Sean Thornton to center. McKenzie, first man there. Around for Kopecky. He gets hit and Gardner takes away.
Kopecky taking a second look at the referee. The referee may have gotten in the way.
Kadri plays it up the wall. Gardner looking for some room. Spinning and twisting. Giving a Holzer the wrist shot. Luongo the save. That flag cleared the slot.
I'll tell you what, the Leafs are not laying down. They're playing pretty inspired hockey right now.
Turnover here at the line. Late in a shift for McKenzie and his crew. Thornton. Checked by Holzer. Jokinen now on the line change. Checks Gardner. Winnick waits. Winnick turned it over. Bjugstad looking for Jokinen, but Winnick knocked it down, and finally he's able to clear and get off on a change.
You guys were talking about Olli Jokinen. This is team number 9 for Olli Jokinen. If he gets traded, that will be team 10. The record, Mike Sillinger played on 13 NHL teams. So a lot of traveling for Jokinen.
Well, if you count the A and international, Lindsay, you're creeping up there too.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
3-1 Florida here in the third. Here's with a 3-1 lead as we come down the stretch in the third, and Steven Kampfer. Another solid effort tonight, and he has our ADT defensive play of the game.
You know, sometimes when you know you're outnumbered, you got to do the best thing you can, and right there, makes the best decision. He goes down, blocks the intended pass. Kind of having your head on a swivel, you know, as a defenseman, knowing what's around you, what the dangers are, and how much risk you have to take to stop it. He made the right choice on that play. ADT, defensive player of the game.
And then you saw the 6 hits for Kampfer. Shane O'Brien also with 6 to lead the Panthers, so 2 D-men called up, making their presence felt. Kampfer took a hit there, but made the play, but knocked down at the line and thrown towards the net by Booth. Here's to Branson. That hit the official, but scooped up by Dave Bolin.
And Goldie only played for 12 professional teams in 17 years.
All right, well.
So I didn't get to the record of 13 in the NHL cylinder, but yes, I traveled a lot. Thanks for mentioning.
Billy with Jokinen, you have to remember, he went twice to the Calgary Flames.
Point shot here. Luongo saw it all the way from Gardner, and he'll hold it. February is American Heart Month, and Fox Sports Supports is proud to recognize the American Heart Association's commitment to building healthier lives. Visit foxsportssupports.com for more information.
Denny, how many teams do you play for?
Yeah.
You lucky guy. Yeah.
I played for
1.
2. Let me see. I played for 2 teams from the time I was 14 years old.
Pretty amazing.
Got pretty lucky, really. Yeah.
Lucky? Well, he's one of the best of all time. That's not luck, my friend.
Work here in the Panther zone, the Barkov line against Bozak, Van Riemsdyk, and Kessel. It comes to Bozak. Over to Polak with a wrister. Luongo, another save. Toronto throwing shots here in the third at Roberto. He's coming up with the stop.
Well, you know, for those of you that may not know, in South Florida, Phil Kessel, his history. He was drafted actually by the Boston Bruins, first round, 5th overall. And then the guys that were traded for, now they were traded for 2 first-round picks. Brian Burke made that deal. It was always a controversial deal. And the reason why it was controversial is because it ended up being these 2 players, Tyler Seguin and Dougie Hamilton. Both pretty fair players, particularly Tyler Seguin in Dallas. And there was also a 2010 second-round pick that was thrown in there, all for Phil Kessel.
Ole Jokinen checked by Kampfer. Clarkson hit solidly by McKenzie. Robidas sliding down the wall, bothered by Sean Thornton, and the Panthers clear it all the way down. Kopecky giving chase. Polak away with it. Flips to center. Kampfer plays it right back the other way for Kopecky. Panthers will get a line change. 7:45 to go in the third.
Very responsible by the Panthers in this third period. Just getting pucks deep, making sure the Leafs have come the full length of the ice.
Last 10 games, the Panthers are allowing an average of 2 goals a game. They have really been stingy back to that solid play. And they're being careful here in the third with a 2-goal lead. Robidas plays it back. Cole and an Upshaw. A lot of work here on the forecheck, but Polak's away with it. And then tipped in by Kadri. Luongo left it for Petrovic. Plays for O'Brien. And he'll just get the clear.
There's no doubt that Toronto's picked up their hitting as well. It's not necessarily hitting to hurt someone, but just finishing your check. They're doing that a lot better here in the third period than I've seen during the game. And that's the kind of responsible play that can get you going. This has not been a Panther advantage in this third period. Very much an even game so far.
You know, 1 shot, it's a 1-goal game. You know, that's what Toronto is thinking.
And Toronto's had more shots in this third period than the Florida Panthers.
You know, by a wide margin, 9-1 the count for Toronto in the third. And the Panthers most of the year been top 5, top 7 in shots on goal per game. They're at about 31. And as you see, still at 17 here tonight.
Well, the maturing of a hockey team is when you try and you play your game all 3 periods.
Here's Gardner with an opening, moving in, walking in, and he shoots, and Luongo may have gotten a piece with a glove. Gardner trying to go top shelf.
And I'll tell you what, O'Brien did absolutely the right thing. He focused on the player in front of the net so that the goaltender could see the shot.
We'll let Roberto do his job. Leafs again spending some time in the Panther zone. It's Winnick finding Gardner again, but it's off his stick. Fleischmann charges him, but Gardner got it away, and Winnick back over the line onside. The drop for Kadri, centering past Panik. Tipped away, and Barkov. Nice little play with the reach to give to Huberdeau, and back again for Barkov. Cutting to the middle and flipping in. Brad Boyes after it. Barkov took the hit. Boyes plays the puck. Barkov again. Trying to lose Panik. Barkov uses the body to lean in. And then it's batted back to center. Ekblad gets the red line. Jokinen, Bjugstad, Hayes, the goals for Florida. 3 in a row after Toronto had the early lead. As the Panthers try to close it out and pull it in 2 points of a playoff spot. Brad Boyes hounding Morgan Riley, and Boyes forces the turnover. Boyes looking. He'll patiently wait, throw it down low. Pollock plays there. David Booth couldn't control at center. A one-time member of the Panthers.
Curley had his biggest offensive years with the Florida Panthers. Earned him a good deal, and then he ran into a lot of injury problems after going to Vancouver. He has not really recovered.
31-goal season for the Panthers.
Probably be mid-20s to 30-goal scorer, and people started evaluating him at that level, and he's never quite got back even close to that.
That Mike Richards hits in Philadelphia caused that big concussions when all those problems really started for Booth.
Now remember it well. Kessel shoots Luongo with a stick save. Panthers with a couple of good shifts there, spending time in the Toronto zone. Camper tripped by Kessel. They let that one go. Panthers clear, and this will slow down, so no icing. As the clock rolls towards 4 minutes left. Thornton with a hit on Van Riemsdyk. Granberg to center. Taken by McKenzie. And he comes up the middle. Shoots in off the glass. Kopetsky after it. He got tied up by Gardner. Bozak through center ice. Tipped by Bjugstad. On goal it comes. And Roberto Luongo will cover up. 3:45 left. After the Leafs got one early on the power play, Luongo has been a wall since. Our game summary after the Maple Leafs took the early lead, Denny. The Panthers responded in a big way.
This is a great play here by Fleischmann, who really did a lot of yeoman's work. Great puck protection by Bjugstad, and then just a simple wrister by Campbell, who's got 2 assists, and another goal by Jimmy Hayes, standing in front of the net. How about that? And let's take a look at this game summary. Jokinen getting his first power play goal since last season. Bjugstad and Hayes both getting a goal each. And for the Florida Panthers, 2 for 5 on the power play is really what has separated the Panthers from the Toronto Maple Leafs to this point in the hockey game.
A couple of the goal scorers. Jokinen on the right. Got it tied, and Bjugstad right now with the go-ahead goal is 21st of the year. And we always love Panther fans in the house. There's a couple of them here in Toronto.
I think he's a duck hunter.
Probably.
He can go out with you, Denny.
Exactly. Show him around, Potvin.
Proud of his beard.
Peter Holland with the Leafs now pulling the goaltender early on. Empty net, the extra skater on for Toronto. Panik trying to get in front, does, and the shot is stopped by Luongo. So Peter Horacek and the Maple Leafs figure nothing to lose. Here's Clarkson trying to bait Goodbranson into a fight.
Well, you know, Thornton went after Clarkson a little bit either. Clarkson had a tussle with O'Brien. And then you've got, this is where you really make it difficult for the other team when you want to stand up and play tough guy, and 4 of the players on the other team all come by and have a few words to say. And this last one was Goodbranson, who would be ready at the drop of the hat. There's Thornton right there. He certainly had a couple of words for Clarkson a little earlier. I said getting into the tussle with him earlier in the game was O'Brien.
The net remains empty for the Maple Leafs. 6 skaters on.
This is early at any time. Pull your goaltender with 3.5 minutes remaining.
Off the draw, it's Upshall. And he's able to get the clear. It's bouncing, won't quite get there, but no icing either. Morgan Rielly couldn't hit Kessel in stride. Campbell able to bat it out of the zone. Rielly again, shoots in. Ekblad got there first. Upshall, nice little feed for McKenzie. And he gets the clear again. The Panthers will get a change. Barkov and Boys get on. Upshall's still out there, so they haven't completed the line change. Gardner at center, forced back by Upshall. And now Huberdeau jumps on, empty net. Barkov trying to tuck it in, but that's, oh boy, Barkov I thought was on the red line, but they call the icing. Gerard Gallant on the Panther bench had a little something to say.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same way. I thought that he had the puck over center ice, which of course would have negated the icing, but there's no review. We have seen when referees or officials make a mistake on one of those kinds of calls, they review it and then bring the face-off back to the center ice, but not the case.
Timeout on the ice. You mentioned pulling the goaltender early. It was Patrick Roy last year who really started that trend in Colorado. Pulled his goaltender early, and they got a couple of wins out of it. And now it's kind of become it in vogue in the NHL to do that. And I like the philosophy if you're down a couple to pull your goaltender early.
Billy, let me ask you a question. Everybody in the NHL, and as you well know, you do look at your stats, and you look at the plus minuses. Does a guy think about that in the position the Leafs are in right now with 2:38 remaining? If they scored an empty net, I'll get another minus.
Phil Kessel is minus 19. James Van Riemsdyk minus 22. Tyler Bozak minus 16. I don't think they care if they add another one to that total. No, not right now.
Good point.
It's minus 23, minus 20. They're so far under par. I mean, they would win any PGA Tour event by a landslide.
They're in South Florida playing 18. They'd be happy. Off the draw, Morgan Rielly. Huberdeau after Gardner fanned on the shot, and Boys able to get it out.
On the flip side, though, if you're on the ice as the Panthers, you do want that plus. That's something you're looking for.
Peter Holland flips in. Took a big hop off the end boards. Down low, Holland rolls it around. Now it comes to the point. Rielly, ooh, dangerous pass there, but it's held in the zone by Gardner. Put right in front. Barkov took a swipe at it, but it bounced away, and Panik had a chance. Campbell plays it around. Boys in a foot race with Rielly, and Boys clears all the way down. Icing on the Panthers with 1:57 to go.
Now Barkov doing a good job. He hasn't had one of his best games. I can say that for sure. But he has fought hard, and that's what you expect. That's why when a guy doesn't have a great game, a coach sometimes is asked, why are you putting him out there near the end of the game? The coach will tell you, in one shift, he can turn the game around for us. And that's where Barkov belongs. And again, 20-year-old Barkov is going to battle here to the end for the Florida Panthers to get their win, as the Panthers take a little breather right now and get the timeout.
You know, the Panthers we've talked about all year long, there they are, one of the best in the NHL defensively in the third period. And now up by 2 with less than 2 minutes left. Ekblad and Campbell, the deep pairing, along with that Barkov line, the 5 for Florida. Leafs have the big guns out there. Kessel, Van Riemsdyk, Bozak, Rielly and Gardner on the blue line, and Winnick up front as well.
Oh, Boys taking a face-off. Right-hand shot.
Against Bozak. up at 57% tonight. Boys won that one. Campbell and then Huberdeau got it out.
Excellent play, both by Campbell. The face-off win by Boys, and then Huberdeau very strong on the board.
Big after the icing, Huberdeau and Barkov were able to change. Boys was not. Puck free down low. Goodbranson battling two Leafs. What a job by Goodbranson keeping it along the wall there. Kessel finally digs it free. Stolen by Dave Bolin. Tucks it out of the zone. It's rolling towards the empty net, but wide. And another icing. Both teams out of their timeout. They've used it.
Brad Boys is 55% on the season in the faceoff circle. And they'll use that, right, Denny, on the backhand oftentimes. But he's good in the faceoff circle, and they've used him a lot this season because on that backhand side.
He's been out there for a while now after the icing.
Well, why would they not use him again? Now they got Bolin in there as a left-hand shot. No, he's a right-hand shot as well. Sorry about that.
Bowen's at 64% tonight. Kadri drew that one back. Cross ice, it comes. The Pollock shot, knocked down in front. Loose helmet on the ice belongs to Bolin. Leafs hold it in, another shot. Hit the back of Clarkson. Dave Bolin trying to clear it out, and let's see, we have a whistle.
Well, it's
going to
be
get a call here?
Slashing call. Slashing on Holland. And I tell you what, there comes a time when, you know, if it doesn't break the hockey stick, the guy's got to be able to hang on to his own stick. It's tough.
It's on the Panthers here.
No, it is. It's on Bolin for slashing. He hit Holland, and Holland, who did not have a grip on his hockey stick, it just fell down to the ice. I mean, at that point, I say, look, this is not an overly vicious slash and should not be called in that way, particularly in the heat of the moment. We're watching Clarkson go off to the penalty, to the dressing room now. Obviously, he's hurt, but we're going to show you the penalty. And I tell you, he knocks the stick out of his hand, but you're sort of allowed stick on stick. That's not a broken stick. That is not a broken stick. Should be allowed a certain amount of stick on stick checking, but that's not the call.
6 on 4 for Toronto with a goalie pulled. Here we go with a minute to go. Riley over to Kadri. Van Riemsdyk is out in front. Gardner at the line. They work it around the perimeter. It's Kadri again. Putting it cross ice. Kessel shoots and he scores. Short side. It's a one-goal game.
What did we say? 13 or 14 scouts in the building. That's what they came here to see. If indeed Kessel is a trade, well, I shouldn't say trade bait, but I mean, if he is in a position where some teams are interested to take on the payload as well as him, that is why you do it. The incredibly quick release and the timely goal, and Kessel gets his 22nd.
Bernier back in. It's now a one-goal game with 49.1 left. That's a power play goal. Campbell off the draw. And Fleischmann able to tip it deep in the zone to use some valuable time. Morgan Riley controls. 6 on 4 goal for Toronto. Van Riemsdyk tipped it all the way in, and that's icing on Toronto. And that is huge with 33 seconds left. Bernier's got to come back in.
Changes the whole spectrum of what the Toronto Maple Leafs are trying to do. 33 seconds remaining, and you're going to have McKenzie in the face-off circle, and I bet you he's going to try and push the puck deep into the Toronto zone off the face-off.
And he said Thomas Fleischmann is going to go. Watch, Fleischmann goes off this run. The other two are going to back up.
And there it is, Fleischmann checking Riley, but he's able to get free. And Morgan Riley's out. Bernier heads to the bench. Kessel flies over the line. Throws it on goal. Luongo got a pad on it. Gardner shoots. Luongo sticks it away. Campbell after the puck. Jussi Jokinen got a piece of it. And Jokinen, the second attempt, he got it out. It's offside. Oh, Jussi Jokinen with a big effort there up high to just get it out of the zone.
You know, many people have commented to me who haven't watched every Toronto Maple Leafs game, but they've said there's a malaise on the ice. You could see it in the players. Billy Lindsay made that comment earlier today. You watch this team play right now. They've got a lot of speed. Probably no reason why they should be in such a slump. They have speed and talent, and they're showing it now.
Off the draw at center. Huberdeau shoots in. Oh, and Gardner cut it off. Final seconds, it's Phil Kessel at center. And the Panthers get out of Toronto to start the road trip with a win. Roberto Luongo, 27 saves, and Florida is now just 2 points out of a playoff spot.
The Florida Panthers, I would have to say, got themselves out of the third period. Outshot 14-1 in the third period. Not exactly what the Florida Panthers had drawn on the board after the second period. A 2-goal lead, 3-1. It will remain a win for the Florida Panthers, giving up a goal late to Kessel. But boy, the Florida Panthers gave the Toronto Maple Leafs a chance in the third period. Outshot 14-1.
The 17 shots on goal, the fewest this season for the Panthers, but it doesn't matter. They get the W, so we'll talk about the successful start to the trip, show you all the highlights of this one, and check in downstairs in the locker room. All coming up on Panthers Live postgame, where the Cats get the job done tonight in Toronto. The Leafs broke out on top of the Panthers, started getting physical, and started scoring some goals. Jokinen and Bjugstad on the power play, and then the eventual game winner by Jimmy Hayes.